And welcome. This is SharePoint Power Hour. I'm Laura Rogers, and SharePoint Power Hour is our weekly show every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central. Power Hour is all about things that we can do in SharePoint without having to write code or do anything super technical. We've been doing this for, a couple of years now. I've got Corey Emmons here. He's my sidekick, I guess you could call you. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Corey.
My name is Corey Emmons, as Laura said, and as my lower third says, and I just like to popularize that fact. Don't mind the cat in the background; he's obnoxious. I've been doing SharePoint for about 11 years. Kind of work with Laura, kind of run my own little thing. Yeah, mostly do out of the box stuff. Most of you guys know who I am anyway, so.
Yeah, it's funny. Now we go to SP TechCon, people walk up to us and say, "Hey, we recognize you from Power Hour."
It's true.
All right, so let's see. Today's Power Hour is going to be about lookup columns. As you all probably have experienced before when you've joined Power Hour, we have a little chat room that we use in Slack. Slack is an app. So I have in the description for this YouTube video, there's a link for you to fill out a form to be able to join the channel. And then whenever you've joined the channel, you get an invite, and it's IW Mentor is the name of my SharePoint training company, and iwmentor.slack.com is the Slack channel. So there's an app you can install on your computer or your phone or any platform. It's a lot of fun. So once you get in that app, you go to the little Power Hour channel in there, and we ask questions, and we just chat, and we have like just a live just live conversation going on during. You guys are asking about watching it in the Google Hangouts. I can give you that link. Let me see. I was just trying to keep it simple and not give people the link to the Hangout and the YouTube video, but basically it streams live on YouTube and also in a Google Hangout. So that's I just put the link in the chat window to that, and I tweeted the YouTube video and I forgot to put that in the chat window. So all right, we'll go ahead and get started. There have been, just kind of let me know if the performance acts a little wonky, because my computer is kind of telling me that it's maxed out. So just let me know in the chat window if it starts acting strange. But because I've got SharePoint Designer running and all this Google stuff and the video thing and Slack and my browser and just all kinds of stuff. So my computer's not liking me right now. All right, so again, I'm Laura Rogers. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and so I've got a blog, wonderlaura.com, and a SharePoint training company, iwmentor.com, and I've been doing this stuff for like 12 years. And let's see, today's presentation, it's fairly basic, so it's nothing super crazy advanced or anything. It's kind of back to the basics. Lookup columns are pretty basic. They exist, of course, they existed in SharePoint forever. But some of the functionality we're going to be talking about is, I believe you could do any of the things we're going to be showing in 2010, SharePoint 2010, SharePoint 2013, SharePoint Online with Office 365, and SharePoint 2016. So we're going to be able to do any of those things, any of the lookup stuff that we're showing in any of those platforms. So this should pretty much apply to most of you here. I'm going to go ahead and mute this little Slack channel so that it doesn't make sounds while I'm trying to talk. All right, let's mute. Okay. And I know you guys are sending in forms right now as Power Hour's happening to join Power Hour in the Slack channel, but I have to manually invite you for those, and so I can't do it while I'm talking. But once you're in there, go to the hashtag Power Hour little channel in there, and that's where we're all chatting, and that's where we're going to have a blast. Okay, so I actually did a PowerPoint presentation today. Aren't you impressed? So let's see, I'll go ahead and get that. Let me get that pulled up. Slideshow, monitor. There we And I've got to share my screen. Let me see. Hold on a second. Ooh, okay, there we go. That looks a little weird. That doesn't look like it's filling up the whole screen correctly.
No, we just see a very small portion of your screen. It's like
desktop region. Okay, screen. I can hear your cat. Oh, that's what I didn't do. I didn't change the resolution like I usually do. Hold on a second. I'll just do that real quick. Whenever this this broadcasts on YouTube, so it helps whenever we are sharing our screen. It helps when we're doing this if we change the resolution to 1280 by 720, just in case any of you ever want to make a video that shows on YouTube. That's going to be the best one to do. All right, let's see. I will go do my presentation again. Okay, let's see. How's that look? Oh, nice. All right. Okay. So there I am in the corner. Hello. SharePoint lookup columns. IW Mentor, that's me. Okay, I'm going to go through some slides and then I'm going to do mostly demos like I always do. Let me go ahead and go into the Google Hangout part. I forgot to do this last time, Corey, and make it so that it maximizes through the whole screen, so it doesn't still show you at the bottom, because it just looks better when we get the recording that way.
Right. It's still cutting off the top of your screen for some reason.
Okay, maybe it's better now that
it's a little better. Yeah, it's just clipping like the tops of the title of the presentation, but it's all right.
All right, yeah, I'm not sure what I can do about that. Can you see? You can't see that it says lookup columns?
You can. You just can't see like the top of the C, but I mean,
okay,
we can read.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. Okay, so of course, SharePoint lists and libraries. When we're creating different types of columns, I'm just kind of jumping right into this. When we're creating different types of columns, a lookup column is a type of column that we can create. And what does it let you do? Well, first of all, it's confined to all the lists and libraries in that site that you're in. So you can do a lookup, which is dynamic information from another list or library in that site. So a lot of the times when you're doing a multiple choice field in your list or library, you have a choice between doing a choice and a lookup. And we're going to talk about a couple of other kinds like managed metadata too. But the difference between a choice and a lookup, they both give you the end user a drop-down box to pick things, but a choice field, if you need to go change the values in it, you basically have to go back in and edit the list settings and go in and edit those values, and whoever does that needs to have the ability to manage that list, and they have to have a higher level of permission on that list to go change that. When you create a lookup column, you can create a lookup to just something else, just another list in the site, so that can be more dynamic. So say if you want, like, your administrative assistant to be able to quickly go change kind of what, the leave types or something like that exists for your company. If you have a leave request, you can have a lookup column in your list to the leave types list, and that way somebody else can be able to go add and remove and edit the items in that list without having to be able to edit the settings and change the values that way. In a lookup column, the value in the column is really stored as the ID of that item. So like if you change the title or change some value in that item, it's not going to break the lookup, because the ID of the things really is what's getting stored in there. And a choice field it's just text. It's just the text of what that value is. So you pick the column you want to display, get information from, and then you pick what column you want to show, and you can display additional fields. So we're going to go through all these different things in here. Let's see. All right, so here are just some basics. Again, you pick another list on the same site. You pick a column to show in the drop-down box. So, Corey, let me know if there are questions, because I have my whole screen is obscured. I can't see it with this PowerPoint.
Shall do.
Cool. All right. So when you create a column, like in this example, in this demo I'm going to do, it's going to be a site where we've got just internal job openings, job applicants, job applications. So we can do a lookup when we have a job application. We can do a lookup to which job opening it's an application for. So you can have one job opening, right, and many different applications to that one job. So like the job itself, that's the parent list, and the child list is the job openings or any other list that's looking up to it. So when you're picking the item from, when you're picking the lookup column that you want to create from job openings, you can pick which column you want to show in the drop-down box. And then this is what it would look like in the screenshot on the right. It's just showing the list of what all the title fields are in those in that job opening. And that's actually a library. The job openings, in this case, it's a document library. Additional columns, we can pull over additional columns from the lookup. That means, you know, once you've picked the title from whatever job opening you're applying for, then you can make it so that it automatically pulls across additional columns from that list and pulls them over into the job application list. And that's live information. So I remember when that first came out in 2010, that was huge. That was a big deal because it used to be very frustrating to do. You had to do all these extra weird things with workflows and stuff like that to try and get it to pull over extra information, but then it wasn't live information and there wasn't really any way to make sure it was. So pulls over extra information. It doesn't, you can't use every single type of column here. So we'll go through and we'll do like a little test and we'll create a bunch of different columns and I'll show you kind of what, you know, where your limitations are. And so those are the ones where you're going to end up having to do workarounds for those. So let's see, I'll go ahead and just go to the next one. All right, the next one is the next little setting in here when you're doing a lookup column is whether you want to restrict or cascade. And we'll demo this too. When there's a lookup value in the drop down, if you want to restrict it, then, you know, if you have a job opening and you have multiple job applications for that job opening, then if you choose restrict, when someone tries to delete that job opening, it won't let them delete it because it's got related job applications. That's the opposite of cascade. So that cascade is going to be if you delete that main job opening, it will automatically cascade down and delete all the related job applications to that job and anything else that's in any other lookups to that job. So then it will cascade down. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a demo here. Let's see. I've got my pretty little HR site in this lovely. I'm going to do, we're going to go to the job openings area in here. All right, so we've got job openings. We've got a list of job openings here, which is really a library. These are all actually documents. You can see when I hover over them, it will open up a document. So the job openings are documents. They could just be list items either way. And then I've got job applications, which you're applying to a job opening. And then we've got job applicants, which are the people that are applying to that job opening. So those are going to be both things that we're going to be able to do lookups to. All right. Let's see. So I muted that so that wouldn't pop up anymore. All right. Okay, so job openings is a list here. All right. So I've got the job openings and I've got job applications. And that's where we've created the lookup to job openings. So I did some of this ahead of time and we'll do some more of it kind of as we go, as we demo stuff. So in the job openings, I've got, I'll go over the applicant stuff in a minute, but I've got, you know, what job opening is it referencing, or let's see, and then I can bring across additional information about that job opening. So I've got like, what department is it, the level of experience, the deadline, and those are apparently all fields that it's allowing us to pull across. Let's see. I'm sorry, hold on real quick. Did I get my Wonder Woman jammy pants?
Sorry, I was just filling the time.
You know, my life is so hard. The maids are up there vacuuming, and the vacuum sound is coming across the baby monitor down here. So, right. So,
no words.
All right. So, okay.
Laura, you're extremely blurry.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You look like a ghost.
That's one of the frustrating things about this this whole setup here is that once I get it all just right, if I move or do anything, it's just completely screwed up. So let's see. There we go.
There you are. She materialized.
You would think I would have figured out this whole live broadcasting thing by now, but it's like the software keeps just resetting itself and changing things, and it's just making my life hard. All right. So I can pull across additional fields. Now I want to show you, so the department in that job openings list is a text field. So in the real life, you probably would not want people just typing the name of a department in there, just free form text, because that's kind of dumb. So that's what that is, but that's why we're allowed to pull it across. So, and then we've got, let's see, department experience deadline. I'm going to go ahead and just pull over deadline and just kind of show you what that looks like when we do that. And we'll go ahead and fill in a job application. I didn't mean to go back to the whole root of the site. That's one of the weird things about this branding in this little Microsoft Contoso little fake site is that it doesn't have like the breadcrumb trail at the top. It's really weird. Okay, so I've got job openings, job applications. Okay, so I'll go fill out a job application and show you what that looks like. All right. And here are my jobs I can apply for. And I can make notes about it and add the status. I didn't add a whole bunch of fields to this because I just kind of wanted to get the basics in here. Now I'll go ahead and we'll look at this. We'll go ahead and add that column. So we're going to have the job opening that they applied for and then the job opening deadline. So I'm going to kind of get rid of a couple of, especially notes. I don't really need that for now. And this is what I was talking about with the values coming across. So I can actually go over to the jobs and I can like look at IT technician deadline, the job opening deadline. So let's go do that. Watch. When I change the deadline, IT technician, going to edit that. Not easier said than done. Have to go to the library itself. All right. They didn't put the little edit box there or anything, any way to get in there. Don't you love that? Okay, so I'm going to change this to 2016. That would make more sense, right? So then when I do that, it will show the new deadline live. So that was a big deal when that came out in SharePoint, the ability to have that data from the other list coming over. And so that it stays kind of, you know, the live data stays that way. Now, you guys, if you didn't see anything in like in the basics that I'm going to cover here, if you guys have a burning question that you came here expecting to learn about having to do with something maybe more intricate you're trying to do with lookups, just be sure and mention that in the chat window so I can throw that into the demo. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when we do the restrict delete versus cascade delete and kind of what that involves. Because sometimes like when you see a setting like that and you're not sure what it does, I see a lot of times people kind of, you hesitate to go try it out because it's, because, you know, you're kind of not sure what it's going to do. So let me go to job openings and go back to that list. Okay. Go to the settings here. And All right, so we've got, oh, never mind, I'm sorry. I meant to go to the job applications. Sorry. Okay, so this is the lookup that I already created to the job opening itself. It's pulling over the deadline. I can go add more checkboxes for the other ones later if I want. But let's see. Okay, so first I'm going to do restrict delete. So I'll show you what happens. So when I restrict delete, that means that actually impacts when I'm deleting what? The parent item. So now when I go delete the parent item in the job opening, now some of these other ones that are not IT technician, they don't have any child items looking up to them. So it would let me delete them easily. But IT technician has that child item pointing to it, right? So are you sure? Want to sure. And then this item cannot be deleted because an item in the job applications list is related to an item in the job openings list. So that's the restrict. All right. So now we'll go ahead and go change that to Cascade when Office 365 takes its time here. All right. Job applications. If it's going to be slow like this, I'll just open it up in a separate window. All right. Job applications, and then go change that. So Corey, we used this a good bit in one we created before. It was that solution that had a customer and a whole bunch of locations and a whole bunch of contacts and tasks and things. And we made it so that when you deleted the customer, it just automatically deleted all that related stuff, right?
Absolutely. It made it a lot easier. Plus, it kept everything updated pretty well too, right, which helped.
Because if you delete an item and it still has child items, then it's just going to not have a value. If you don't do the restrict or cascade, and you delete the parent, then all those child items will still be there, but just that lookup field will be empty. So we'll do cascade delete. And so we could have multiple applicants for this job. And I'm going to go ahead and open that in another window just to be more efficient here. So they have that job openings link here in the navigation taking you to the special little page with multiple web parts on it where I can't get to anything. Gotta love that. All right, job openings, and then job openings. But it's very pretty and shiny. Okay, so now we're going to delete. And it will warn you. So if you can have multiple items and multiple other lists that are looking up to this one item, and it will just delete all of them for you. So it's going to let me know, and it's even going to show me like, did I not change it to Cascade? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's fine. I'll just do it again. We got plenty of jobs that we can, yeah, I changed it to Cascade and it didn't warn me. Okay. Alrighty. So we'll go look and see if it deleted everything. Usually, I don't know if this is maybe it's something new they changed in Office 365, but usually it warns you when it's going to delete all the related items. But I guess they got rid of that. So good to know. Okay, so but it did do it. It deleted the job applications item. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to some more stuff. Let's see. Go to my PowerPoints. All right, central lookup list. Okay, so this is that, think about that list of departments that we have. Do you guys have things like this? I want you to type them in the chat window. If you do, have like a common list of things that you use in a lot of places in SharePoint, and it would be more efficient to be able to have it as in a more central place. Like departments is a really common one. Like a list of approvers, like departments have associated approvers that you need to look up, have that lookup information about them because maybe you use it in multiple places. Now, of course, when we're talking about stuff like this, we can also talk about, we're going to be comparing this to other column types as well. But this is something that I see really common as, the need for a central lookup list. Now, the example that I'm going to show you can really only be done within a site collection. But even if you have I've tried doing this like with a content type hub before, it didn't work like you'd expect. So what you can do is at the root of your site collection, you can create the main list, like the list of departments with all the columns with more information about each department. And then what you're going to do is at the root of the site collection, create a site column that is a lookup column. And it's going to look up to your departments. But guess what? When you create a site column, it's going to be available in all your subsites. Does this sound like a good trick? Did y'all already know about this trick, or it's kind of one of those more obscure ones? So I'll go ahead and demo that. Let's see. Has anybody ever done this before with creating like a central list? So I'm going to go to the root of the site collection here. I'll go ahead and go way on up like this. And what I want to do also is get what the departments are. So this is just a text field, and I'm just going to do a quick little shortcut. When I'm changing something from being a text field to a choice list, it just gives me a quick way to grab what all the values are that exist in that text column. So I'm just going to be able to copy that to the clipboard. Just put it over here just in case. All right. And then I'm not going to do anything else with that. Just cancel. All right. So now I have my list of departments, and I will go to the root of the site collection and add an app. Drum roll. Are you guys ready for this? This is so cool. Okay, departments. You guys do not seem as enthusiastic as, maybe you guys all just know this trick. All right. So created list of departments here, and I'll go ahead and just go to the settings page, and I can, it can have like another column that's got like a description of the department. It can have like who's the department head and things like that that I can create in here. I'm just going to change the title field to department name. That, make it required, keep it pretty simple. And I'm going to go ahead and at least add one more column just so you can kind of get the full effect of this. All right. And I'll just leave it as a single line of text, because I don't think multiple lines of text are one of the ones that's compatible with coming across with a lookup. So, all right, so we'll keep this nice and simple and add a few departments. So what I can do just real quick is go into quick edit view and take that list of departments that I've got and paste them in there. Woohoo! All right, and then I can just quickly go add some descriptions. All right, so there are all my descriptions of my departments. Okay. You like those, right? Those are pretty funny. Carlos says, can you address filtering a lookup field? You cannot filter a lookup field with the out-of-the-box functionality, Carlos. You can do it with InfoPath, which I think I already did a power hour about how to do that with InfoPath. And then you can also do it with the last power hour. Carlos, did you see the InfoWise solutions that I demoed in the last power hour? InfoWise solutions, it's a third-party product that you can buy that you can get a discount through me, because I think they're awesome and I use them a ton. Anyway, they give you they have a little setting that allows you to do that because it's one of those really commonly asked for things. All right, so now I've got my common list of departments. And I'm going to go create a site column. All right, and I'll just create it as it's going to be a lookup. And since I'm still at the root of the site collection, creating this site column, remember, because you can only create a lookup within the same site that you're in, right? To a list in the same site that you're in. So I'm still at the root level, so that way I can go to departments, and I had a feeling, Carlos, that one of you was going to ask about filtering a lookup field, and it's an unfortunate that that still doesn't exist. All right, department name, and then click OK. You can use calculated fields and use that as a lookup column, says ShareMap. Use a calculated field. Yeah. So we could put a calculated field in the parent list and have that as part of the lookup. ShareMap, can you give me an example of where you've used that or how you've used that? Maybe I could I could throw that into my demo potentially. All right, so now we've got our job openings library that already has that department field. Remember, this is in a different site. It's in the same site collection, but this is like a couple of sites down from it. But I can go ahead and say add from existing site column. And let's see. It's called department, so now I'm going to have two columns called department in my library. Let's see if it lets me do that. I think it will. Do I want to add to all the content types in the default view? Sure. All right, so yes, it let me do that. So now that I've got two, I'm going to be able to take that information and let's see. HR job openings. I'm trying to I just want to go to the root of this list. You know what? I'm just going to put this in the navigation because that's annoying me. There we go. Okay, so ShareMap, in this example, what kind of calculated field would I have and how would that help in my lookup? Is that going to be for a calculated field showing a value like in a people field or one of those other ones? We'll see. All right, so job openings, and now I've got departments. That's a single line of text. And let's see. Did I add the wrong one? I think I did. Let me see. I called it. There's already an out-of-the-box site column called department. I think I called it department lookup. Yep, I did. Okay. All right, I am just not on the ball today, am I? Department lookup. There we go. So, okay, so you're saying using if. So you can use an if in your calculated field to show a certain value. So basically it's still going to show all the other values in the list, but they're going to be just blank empty spaces. Is that what that end result would be? ShareMap. All right, I'm just going to keep going with this. All right, so now we've got our job openings and we've got now 3 different columns called department. So what I need to do is I just need to make sure and I have the right department associated with, and I misspelled it, associated with each one of these. All right, so department lookup, I just need to, maybe I can just copy that. Copy, paste. Yep, let's see if that works. Looks like it does. Nice. All right, and I can just delete those other department fields. All right. Okay, back to the library settings. I'll go delete the other ones. And then, so we're going to try what he said with this calculated column with this department lookup, because it's a lookup field. So it's not going to allow me to pull it across into the other. So anything that's a choice or a lookup, when you're trying to, check those little boxes next to other columns to pull them across as part of your lookup, it's not going to let you do that if it's any kind of choice field. All right. So we'll throw in, let's see, okay, job openings. I do have something I want to do with a workflow too. So I'm going to try and get as much of this crammed in here. Believe it or not, I could spend a whole hour talking about lookup fields. All right, so now the end result here is that in my job openings, I've got my job. I'll just fill in a job application and we'll see what that looks like. Okay, I'll be an administrative assistant. See, it looks, it's looking up to the job opening. And so it's not pulling over any extra information yet, but the job openings themselves have that department field that's centrally managed now. So the job openings, instead of having just a free-form text field like they had before, they are all using this lookup. See, that goes to that main list that's in the root of the site collection. Y'all, does that make sense? Do y'all think that that's useful? Can you think of how you might be able to use a central list like this to be able to use in multiple lists and libraries in your site collection and manage it from one place? I'd love to hear some examples of kind of, hopefully we get the wheels turning and you guys are getting ideas around that. All right. So we've got job applications, job applicants. So what I want to do is we'll talk a little bit more. I've got a couple more slides comparing different types, and then I want to try and see if I have time to do some stuff with the workflow. All right. So I did the central lookup list. So we did this. And now, so this is just more of a discussion, lookups compared to managed metadata. Well, I was creating, this central departments list at a customer, and they asked me, well, we have some managed metadata for departments. Why would we use one or the other? Managed metadata is going to be great for, having like a tree structure, like be able to drill down and get down into like departments and divisions or any kind of structure of like different types of categories of customers, like subcategories within categories. But managed metadata is really just text, and it's really just a field. There is a way to do some sort of custom values, extra values with managed metadata. I don't see that very widely used. As a matter of fact, I've never seen anybody use it. So it's not really the same thing as having a list, like a table of information, where you have the ability to do lookups and pull across extra information. So if you have a list of departments and you need to keep track of who the department head is, and if somebody's in a list and they pick that department and they need extra information about that department to come across, like the description, location, department head, I don't know, main phone number, something like that, that's not something that you can really do with managed metadata. Managed metadata is really more for categorizing and being able to use categorizing items for the purposes of being able to find them later, be able to filter and sort through a big long list of categorized documents or pages, or using it as in navigation like we've talked about before. So
Laura, Carlos
yes.
has asked if there are limits to the number of lookups in a list.
Yes, let's see. Last time I checked, of course this could have changed, I think it was 6. But I haven't tested that in at least a year or two, so they could have changed it since then. But yeah, I would just go try it out and just see. But yeah, it was 6 last time I checked. All right.
Just keep trying until you break it.
Yeah, there we go. And then lookups compared to, let's see. Sean says, if by filtering lookup field you mean the same as cascading dropdown, and there's a jQuery JavaScript. Yep. Of course there is. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, is that there is not an out-of-the-box way to do it. There are in InfoPath, you can do it. There are third-party tools that you can do it. And yes, you can do it with jQuery JavaScript. Absolutely. And Mark was just here at a couple power hours ago showing us how to do this. But when we're sticking to the out-of-the-box functionality, no, there isn't. So yeah, unfortunately. You would think that that'd be something built in by now, but it's not. All right, so lookups compared to external data. So you also have another type of field you can create when you're creating a column in a list in a library, and that's a connection to external data. That is an external content type, and that is something that you create from either if you're a dev, or you create the dev way, or you can create it from SharePoint Designer, which means you have to actually authenticate to some other database like a SQL or some other kind of database. You have to have a connection string. You have to have an account to authenticate to it. You have to, it's a pretty complicated set of instructions to be able to do that. In our SharePoint 2013 Building Business Solutions book, I wrote the chapter on external content types about all that stuff. And it's like, it's a whole chapter. There's a lot to it. But yeah, so that's another way that you can have a list of departments or a list of something else that's in a database somewhere else that's not SharePoint and be able to do lookups. And Corey and I have done that before as well. And we had a list of customers coming from another database, and we did the external column, and we also had it pull across other fields like, unique IDs and different things like that. So that's much more complex than just doing a regular lookup. All right, let's see. And then we've got, we'll see if we get to this web part connections. When you put a list or library, like just a web part of a list or library on just any page in SharePoint, you have the ability in the toolbar at the top in the ribbon, you have the ability to choose to connect show related list. And so if it's got existing lookups already, then it will just quickly allow you to pull in that related list and have it already as a connected web part on that same page. It's pretty fancy. All right, I think that's the last, yeah, that's the last slide. So, okay, so now let's see if we can do this workflow part. So I'm going to go open my job opening. So the goal here is going to be to show you how you deal with lookups when you're creating a workflow. And I've got 15 minutes. Let's see if I can make this up as I go. All right, so the goal here is going to be, I have got a list of job openings. I got a list of job applicants and a list of job applications. So when someone applies their job application, I want it to be able to fill in the job applicant field. So I've got, and I'll show you what that looks like. And God, this is so slow today. Goodness. I don't have time for you, Office 365. All right. Okay, maybe not. Let me close that. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start this. All right, so when someone fills out a job application, I want it to, if the job applicant doesn't exist yet, I want it to create the job applicant, and if they do exist already, I want it to put the lookup ID of that person. So new job application. And whenever we're dealing, just a tip of the day is whenever we're dealing with lookups, when you're doing workflows, it's really the value that's being stored in that lookup column is really the ID of that item. So I'm not sure if we're going to get to your idea about the calculated columns. We can see if we can try it if I have time to finish this workflow. That sounds like a little cool, fun thing to try. All right. So when someone fills out a new job application, so it's going to use their email address to look them up. So I want to see if they exist already. If the current item's email equals, and it's just going to look in that other list of job applicants, equals the email address for any of those job applicants where email address is equal to the email address, then I want it to get that item. So set field applicant to, and it's going to be the ID of that item. So the job applicant ID, where the email address equals the current item email address. So if the person exists, it's going to get the ID and set it in that field. If they don't exist, we do an else create list item, and then it's going to create the job applicant. And let's see, to the value, let's see, do I have a last name field in this item? Let's see. Oh, I don't have a name field in my job application. Blah. Let me see, maybe I'll just do the title. No, I just have email. That's fine. I'm just going to fill in the email address. Maybe we'll fix it in a minute if we have time. Full name. I'm just going to put that to email. All right. And then set this field email address, of course, to the email. And then any other fields that I have in that job application that they've just filled out about the person themselves, then I can create, when I create that job applicant, that's what I can do. So it's creating it, and then it's giving me the ID of the item it just created. And then I'm going to set a field value in of applicant to the ID of the item I just created. All right, so I created an item, variable create. Why won't it let me? Set applicant to, oh, it's got to be a GUID, I think. Let me see. Set applicant to workflow variable create. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, it's setting it as a GUID. Okay, that's fine. Get set workflow variable of and ID. We use variables a lot to like maneuver our way to get the right type of data, don't we, Corey? Integer to the value of the applicant it just created. ID where the GUID is equal to that variable. Yeah, there you go. So now I have an actual ID, so then I can set it to that. This is going to go more into the category of advanced workflows, right? Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm going so fast, I don't have time to like explain and show diagrams of everything. And all right, so let's see if that works. I guess I can run it on start. I want to have to hit publish the least amount of times. So after it gets created, what's it doing? Okay. Then let me do some logging in here too. All right. It exists. So log. It exists. And then log. Doesn't exist yet. That way we'll know at least which branch it goes to when we're looking at our log. So this is the way, basically the idea here is that you have your list of job applicants and all the information about them already, like just stored in a list, first name, last name, email address, phone number, where they live, address, and all that. And that way you don't want them to have to fill that out again, because you can just pull it over from the other list. And then you could do something like, if it doesn't exist yet, send them an email letting them know to go fill out additional information or something like that. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to create a job application that uses one of these email addresses that already exist. So george@jetson.com. So we'll do that. Job opening, marketing assistant. All right, active, yes. Notice that also I hid the job applicant field from that list as well. Okay, so here's my new job application, the workflow I just created. And notice a lot that I was using that ID field as I was creating things, as I was doing like sort of matching things up that have lookups to one another. That's the kind of the idea that I wanted to get across. All right, now let's see if my job applications, let's see, it's my new job application, my applicant. Okay, yeah, it did the applicant, see? It pulled him, it found him and it pulled him across. Pretty cool. So now I've got the lookup field. So this is my job application list. And let me add a couple more columns here. So the job applicant, I got his phone number here. So that's just coming across from the job applicant list. So look at that. So all I did was fill in george@jetson.com with the job application, and it went and found the matching person. All right. So now I'll do a job application for somebody that does. Do you have a question? Corey, you unmuted yourself.
Oh, I didn't. I think I just never remuted myself and then I was drinking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So now this user does not exist yet. So let's see if it goes out and creates it. So that's going to be a big difference between SharePoint 2010 workflows and 2013 workflows, is the 2010 ones give you the ID of the item as that variable that it returns, like right here, this variable. And SharePoint 2013 workflows give you the GUID, which is a really long, unique ID of the item. So that's just kind of something that was my little workaround that I did there. All right, so let's see if it created that applicant and then created the lookup. Maybe not. Let's see. If it wasn't so slow. So it created me. So I'm in there. I just don't think that it got to the part where it did the lookup field. Yeah, it did. Cool. It did. So there it is. So remember, I just had, like, I was using my email address for all the lookup fields. But yeah, there's my name. So it did. The workflow actually worked. I did a workflow on the fly, and it actually worked. Can I get a golf clap here?
Woo!
Okay. So SharMap gave me a little bit more information. We've got 7 minutes. We can totally do this. He said, build a lookup to look up the calculated field. So example, active department equals if active title. Oh, okay. Where active returns. Oh, okay. Let's do that. So let's do that on the departments list. So let's do that since we already created. Actually, we'll do it for job openings, since job openings is they can be active or inactive, right? So we'll have a. All right. Oh, somebody pointed out. He also pointed out another. Is that a third-party product, Balestra, or is that just? Oh no, that's how you learned how to do that. Okay, cool. So he put the link to the blog post that teaches how to do this in here. That's pretty nice. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to add a new column in here. Let's see. I might actually already have a column that says where it's whether it's active or not. You know, if Office 365 wasn't so slow. I'm going to go ahead and close SharePoint Designer. Maybe closing things will help this be faster. Okay, I'm just going to create one. Yeah. 5 minutes. Okay. Library. Create column. Status. And I'll just put active or inactive. Okay. And make it a, usually if it's only got 2 choices, I like to make it a radio button. It's just, to me, that just looks nicer. All right. No, I still didn't get anybody, any feedback about what you thought about that central lookup list. I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, I guess it's not really a new concept, but usually when I teach stuff like that, it's going to be new to somebody. All right. So I'll do a quick edit and I'll just change the value of some of these real quick. Oops. Active, and then I'll put a couple of them inactive. Okay. And all right. Okay, so then I change it to inactive, and then I'm going to go build a lookup to, okay, so then I'm going to do another new column in this job openings library. And it's going to be an if statement column. So I'm going to call it calc, just so I don't confuse myself. All right. And I've actually got a meeting with a customer in 4 minutes whenever power hour ends. So I'm going to have to really jump off. All right. So it's calculated. It's going to be if active status active item. So that's just kind of something that was my little workaround that I did there. All right. So let's see if it created that applicant and then created the lookup. Maybe not. Let's see. If it wasn't so slow. So it created me. So I'm in there. I just don't think that it got to the part where it did the lookup field. Yeah, it did. Cool. It did. So there it is. So remember, I just had, like, I was using my email address for all the lookup fields. But yeah, there's my name. So it did. The workflow actually worked. I did a workflow on the fly, and it actually worked. Can I get a golf clap here?
Woo!
Okay. So ShareMap gave me a little bit more information. We've got 7 minutes. We can totally do this. He said, build a lookup to look up the calculated field. So example, active department equals if active title. Oh, okay. Where active returns. Oh, okay. Let's do that. So let's do that on the departments list. So let's do that since we already created. Actually, we'll do it for job openings, since job openings is they can be active or inactive, right? So we'll have a. All right. Oh, somebody pointed out. He also pointed out another. Is that a third-party product, Balestra, or is that just? Oh no, that's how you learned how to do that. Okay, cool. So he put the link to the blog post that teaches how to do this in here. That's pretty nice. Appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to add a new column in here. Let's see. I might actually already have a column that says where it's whether it's active or not. You know, if Office 365 wasn't so slow. I'm going to go ahead and close SharePoint Designer. Maybe closing things will help this be faster. Okay, I'm just going to create one. Yeah. 5 minutes. Okay. Library. Create column. Status. And I'll just put active or inactive. Okay. And make it a, usually if it's only got 2 choices, I like to make it a radio button. It's just, to me, that just looks nicer. All right. No, I still didn't get anybody, any feedback about what you thought about that central lookup list. I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, I guess it's not really a new concept, but usually when I teach stuff like that, it's going to be new to somebody. All right, so I'll do a quick edit and I'll just change the value of some of these real quick. Oops. Active, and then I'll put a couple of them inactive. Okay, and all right.